Brian, in another video we talked about the FIUL, but let's talk about the Premium Finance FIUL. What is that?
Yeah, the reason you probably haven't heard about this is that it's really a strategy for somebody that have higher net worth. 3, 4, 5 million minimum. There's other aspects that can come into play, 20 million plus. So this is for somebody with a higher net worth. And I want to come at this from a couple different angles because I've used it a lot for my real estate investors. They really kind of understand the concept sometimes because it's relatively the same as they've used in their real estate world. So let me give you an example of that. So with real estate, often the best way to build your real estate empire is to put the littlest down, the minimum down payment you can, so you can buy lots of different properties. And that's called leveraging. And it's okay to leverage as long as the rents you receive are much higher than your payments going out and the interest rate that you're paying on your loans. So if that's the case, if you have really solid tenants that pay you, say, 7%, and you got a 3% loan going out, the difference is positive 4, so you want to multiply that as many times as you can, and so that's what you do with small down payments. So instead of buying one house, you might buy 5 houses, each with 20% down, instead of one house with 100% down. So now you have 5 houses that are growing over time, and you build your real estate empire more with that. So it's kind of the same concept with Premium Finance Fixed Index Universal Life. The bank is willing to allow you to put less than 10% down, and they will put up the policy amount, and the underlying investments are provided through the insurance company, and then you pay interest, very low interest rate currently because we're in a low interest rate environment. So we call this leveraged arbitrage, a small amount of money down payment and the rest funded by the bank, and the arbitrage being that my returns are much higher than the interest rate I'm paying. So you're leveraging that multiple times. So this is a way, we like the fixed index universal life strategy. It creates tax-free cash flow or tax-free legacy assets later in life and upon your passing. It's a great strategy for that. But here's a way to leverage it. If your net worth is high enough, the bank is more than willing to lend on these. And again, with the low interest rates we have right now, this has been an incredible tool. This is probably the most effective investment tool I have been able to use for all of my clients to date because of the nature of the premium finance and the leverage.
Who is this strategy best suited for?
Well, it's best suited for high net worth and ultra high net worth people. It's also, you need to have some cash available that you don't need for other purposes to pay for your 10%, say, of the policy amount. You do have to medically qualify for it, too. So if you're too old or in not great shape, you may not qualify for it. We have seen intergenerational funding of these premium finance cases for the younger generation. That's another strategy we could get into. But somebody has to be able to qualify physically for these, and you have to have the net worth associated with it.
Well, it sounds like there are a lot of benefits to this particular strategy. Why would someone not want to do this FIUL?
Yeah, there's maybe you don't want to give a bunch of your money now. You're just going to leave people, your heirs' money behind when you pass away. So that would be a reason. Because this is now money funding it. You might fund up to $500,000 or more into a policy and have the bank fund $5 million or something of that nature. But maybe it's just too early for you to do that. You don't want to tie up your money in something, you're still doing stuff with it. So that's a reason. And these are very complicated strategies, and there's a lot that goes into it. If you think interest rates are going to go really high, maybe you wouldn't be as excited about it, although most of these come with some kind of ceiling, some protection against an increase in interest rates. But again, these are very complicated strategies.
Can you give me an example of a client that you've helped using this particular strategy?
Oh yeah, we've done it quite a few times. I remember one, she was in her 50s, and she wanted a couple of things. She wanted tax-free cash flow in her lifetime. She was in her early 50s, and she wanted to leave money behind for her kids tax-free. So she got one policy funded for herself, and she was going to turn that into 20 years of tax-free cash flows with a massive leverage, so much more than what she put in. It was ridiculous to even run these numbers because of the leverage part and the low interest rate environment we're in. But she was going to create a massive tax-free cash flow to take care of all of her needs in her late 60s, 70s, and 80s. So she got that handled. She put another policy into an irrevocable life insurance trust for her children, so that when she passed away, they were going to have millions and millions and millions of dollars left to them, income tax free and estate tax free in case her estate grew. So she really took care of 2 generations like that. I had another example where older couple wanted to leave money to their kids. One of them was doing quite well on their own, one wasn't. So the one that wasn't, they created a gift of this in an ILET that created tax-free cash flow for her in her 60s, 70s, and 80s. So she was taken care of because these folks were in their 80s already. So she would be taken care of after they're gone. The other kid was doing fine by themselves, so they actually did a skip transfer to the grandchildren. So we were able to take care of it that way, and the parents did the plan with the grandchildren as a beneficiary. So there's a lot of uses for this. Bottom line is, we're basically able to use life insurance to create tax-free cash flow or legacy assets, and really supercharge that if your net worth is high by using the low interest rates we're in right now and the bank financing that's readily available to do that.
Once again, another great strategy, Brian. Thanks for telling us more about the Premium Finance FIUL.